You're watching Meet the Movie Press, and coming up, we're going to be talking about James Bond 25, a Boba Fett movie, Jake Gyllenhaal joining the Spidey universe, and so much more, including my new job. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Meet the Movie Press.
Good morning, Simon.
Good morning, Jefferson.
I'm going to miss saying that.
Yeah, are you?
Maybe I'll just wake up.
I don't know if you are. I don't know if you are, really.
Next month, I'm just going to call you in the mornings to wish you good morning.
Do. We're like Trump and Hannity in that respect. We do call each other every morning, whereas those guys talk before they go to bed.
I don't know if I like that analogy,
true,
but all right.
is it? Yeah.
Guys, I'm Jeff Snider.
Yes.
At the Snider on Twitter and Instagram.
Okay.
And this is my last episode.
It is. And I'm Simon Thompson, at Showbiz Simon on Instagram and Twitter. But, Jeff, where can we now find you? Reveal spoiler.
All right.
Spoiler warning.
We'll get right to it, before we start the show. This is my last show for a reason.
Yeah.
I have accepted a new job.
At Ralph's, is it?
At
Is it at Ralph's?
Yes, Ralph was like, we can't have any of our...
Are you driving for Uber?
Cashiers, exactly.
Okay, cool.
Uber has very strict policies about its drivers having podcasts. No, I'm very excited, and I'll tweet this out in a second, to announce that starting Monday, June 4th, I will be the new Collider News Director.
What?
Collider News Director.
What?
I'm heading to Collider.
That's a thing?
Oh, shit!
What?
I'm excited to work with Frosty over there, who gave this his blessing, and to work with all my Schmodown friends, Christian Harloff, Mark Ellis, Mark Riley, John Roca. Excited to work with Perry Nemiroff over there. So, it's should be good. I'm gonna miss us, though. I'm gonna miss us, Simon.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss this.
Before we get to the show and everything, I just wanted to thank Simon.
Thank you.
And to thank Mark Riley, who was the original co-host of the show with me, and all the guest hosts that we've had over the years, whether it's Justin Kroll, Umberto Gonzalez,
who will still be appearing on the show from time to time.
Yeah, of course, Dimitri.
Yes.
I'd like to thank Maria Menounos and Kevin Undergaro.
Yeah.
And all the engineers in the booth, including Anthony, who's been doing...
Even Anthony?
He's been doing a great job.
I don't know.
And of course, guys, Simon's still going to be here.
I'm going to be in that chair.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in that chair.
And we're going to still try to figure out a way to work together while I'm over at Collider, whether it's, trying to get Simon involved, or I'm sure I'll come back and guest on this.
Well, I was going to say that. Yeah, sure.
Once you walk out that door, you're gone.
But everybody was going like, oh my God, Jeff is going. But Jeff, as they say, this isn't goodbye. Right. It's fuck off, you're dead to me. No, seriously, you will come back every now and again, you will be in this chair. Which would be lovely.
I feel like this is my baby. I started tearing up on the ride over here. Honestly, though, this has been an incredible platform for me. Meet the Movie Press. We've built up a loyal following.
We have.
The show has allowed me to vent
8 people, I hear. 8.
The show has allowed me to vent my frustrations with the industry, and it's important for you guys, I think, to hear the nuance in my voice when I do that, as that kind of stuff doesn't always look so hot in print. I'm excited to join Collider and the team over there. As you guys know, I started out on Ain't It Cool News, and back then they were a real leader in the space. Yeah. And it was alongside sites like Slash Film and First Showing and Collider and Joe Blow, and I really think, and no offense to any of those sites, that Collider has really won the battle of the blogs, and I think Collider's really elevated itself into a major brand. They have a presence at Comic-Con. They host studio screenings. They have an app on Apple TV, and I really just thought Frosty made a shrewd business move in selling the company to Complex, because then there was money behind it, and they were able to go to the next level. And yet with that corporate overload came certain mandates and restrictions. And now that Collider's independently owned again by Mark Fernandez, I think it's in a real position to thrive. So I'm excited to come in and try to beef up that site's original reporting. Frosty's been breaking scoops for ages. Yeah. And a lot of that comes from direct relationships with talent. And while I have some of those as well, I also have relationships with agents and managers. And I think that creates some news-breaking opportunities for Collider. I think Collider has a great video department that, every trade in town would envy. And if I can use those resources and break news via video, then the sky's the limit over there. We're still kind of figuring out what my role is going to be, Simon. And so I appreciate everybody's patience while I do that and find my footing again, because it's tough even when you leave the game for 6 weeks, you know? But I think we can really compete with major print publications for big stories, and will serve as an alternative to that kind of dry trade speak. So like I said, I'm excited to join the whole gang over there, and I'm grateful to Mark Fernandez for the opportunity. He saw something in me, believes in me, and I'm going to do my best not to let him down.
And certainly when I think of beefing up because of your Herculean physique,
right,
you are the first man that I think about every morning. No, hey, what?
The first man you think about every morning.
And
you're the same for me,
genuinely,
buddy.
I'm going to miss doing this with you every week. I've been doing this now for a little over 2 years. As you say, I filled Mark's shoes, and it was a great honour to do that. As a your own answer to Harry Potter with alopecia, your own 99-cent store Jason Statham, your own little Kevin Hart. I've really appreciated the way that you embraced me on the show. We haven't, I don't know if you've noticed, but we haven't always agreed on certain things.
That's a good thing for the show.
But what I like is the fact that you've always kept a cool head, Jeff. I like that about you.
Cool head, Jeff.
You're always
no
level-headed. Never a hothead. No, but I'm genuinely going to miss that. And the dynamic is, obviously, the show is going to continue. People are trying to guess. Seriously, it's like spoiler territory out there today. Who is going to be the new co-host? I don't know right now. But I will be slipping into Jeff's space near matron, and the show will continue. We might make a few changes. I might get some hair plugs.
Hair plugs.
Hair plugs.
Hair plugs.
Hair plugs. But yeah, no, it's we will continue the show in your honor, and it's been an honor doing it with you.
Likewise, sir. So
it's been an honor doing it with you every Friday morning, Jeff.
Yes, so let's do it one more time for old time's sake.
One more time.
One more time.
Can I get a rewind, DJ? I'm never doing that again.
Where do you want to start?
Okay, let's start with Bond news.
Yeah, this
news
broke last night around 8 o'clock. I was actually on the phone with El Mayimbe, and I saw this come through, and I was like, "Oh man, you better pull over! Like you got to hop too, son." Bond 25, Universal winning a big bidding war for the international rights.
I was quite surprised actually that it was Universal. I did think that it might go over. I mean, if Sony didn't keep it, I would have thought that it would have been Warner. But I mean, it's a great coup for Universal on many levels. Obviously, in domestically, it's still going to be MGM, but they've got Danny Boyle directing it. Craig's going to be back. It's going to be a 2019 release, and they start shooting in December. So it's really going to be pretty quick to get all this off the ground and kicked in. It'll be interesting to see what Universal are going to do with it, because obviously the Bourne franchise for them has kind of ground to a halt, and everyone was always comparing Bond and Bourne and saying Bourne was Universal's Bond. So it kind of it makes logical sense for them to sort of keep that sort of genre of character and move forward with it, and they prove that they can, certainly marketing-wise and content-wise, sell that internationally very successfully, in the most part.
I feel like this is a good fit. Universal didn't need this by any stretch, although they could use it in that sense. Because
I agree.
So what I've loved about Universal, and one of the reasons why I hope that Comcast actually does not get Fox over Disney. I hope that Fox just goes to Disney as planned. It's because I like how Universal has been succeeding without the capes and the spandex. They don't need the X-Men. They don't need the superheroes. They have a really balanced slate up at Universal. They have plenty of tentpoles. I mean, Fast and the Furious is getting a little long in the tooth. But Jurassic is looking really healthy.
Yeah, very much.
And
so.
They have all the Illumination and DreamWorks animation stuff. So it's not that they don't have franchises, but in the IP department, it's not quite Disney or Warner Brothers, maybe. Yeah. So I think that this will help. I like that Donna Langley is a Brit. She's kind of like a natural fit to oversee the international side of things. And I mean, again, this is still the Broccoli's, Wilson and Broccoli. This is their show to run.
Yeah.
They're going to be making all the decisions, along with MGM. And MGM, for domestic, chose to go with Annapurna. They signed that deal a couple months back.
Yeah.
It didn't mean that they necessarily were going to do Bond that way, but that is how it shook out. I'm curious to see if MGM's getting anything else from Universal the way that Sony did, because Sony kissed MGM into all these other properties like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and Jump Street, etc.
Yep.
I wonder if MGM will be joining any major Universal titles, or basically, what did Universal have to do to wrestle Bond away from its other suitors? But I mean, what do you think of Danny Boyle being confirmed to direct Craig? Like,
I think
you
it's
a fan
great.
of this?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, we've discussed on the show
Right.
many times over the last sort of year since he kind of first sort of he was a front runner. I think it's really good. I mean, Danny Boyle is someone who's loved Bond. He's referenced Bond in many interviews and stuff over the years. It's a very quintessentially British sort of hero, brand association there. It's something that we all grew up with in the UK as very much kind of well, the US had Star Wars, we had James Bond.
Right.
And I think his closeness to it, his affinity with it, his sort of bringing the locality of James Bond to it, even though it's going to be a global adventure again, as it always is. And I think he can bring certain elements of many of his films over the years. He can do comedy, he can do action set pieces, he can do drama. We know this. So I think everything that you need for that Bond cake, Danny Boyle is the chef.
Are
that
you
I think
glad
can do
that Craig is back, or do you wish that they were sort of moving on?
I'm
at this
genuinely
point?
quite. I'm a little bit. I'm still on the fence on that one, because even though I love Daniel Craig as James Bond, in Spectre, for me, he just seemed the general
Checked
air
out.
that he was
Seemed
done with it.
disinterested.
Yeah, that he was ready to move on.
Maybe Boyle will working with Boyle will reinvigorate him.
And I kind of, maybe it will, but I kind of thought that at that point, and obviously when it was like, who's going to be releasing it? What are we going to do? Who's the director going to be? What's the direction going to be? Is he going to stay for the full, for the full length of his contract? I was like, if you're going to change home for Bond, maybe change Bond. See that as a natural cut-off point rather than sort of overlapping. But if he is done with it, and this is his swan song, this is a really good chance for them to, in some way, hand over the baton as part of that story.
The baton.
The baton.
They have
The croissant. The croissant.
They're going to have less than a year to make this movie.
Yeah, they're going to have to get their asses in gear, which I'm sure...
Production starts December 3rd.
Yeah.
Because Boyle's making another movie this summer, a musical. So production is not going to start until December. You're going to have probably some kind of a holiday break, I would imagine. And then the movie's actually coming out. It comes out in November next year.
Maybe it's a Bond Christmas movie.
But
maybe it's Bond's Die Hard.
But it's coming out in the UK 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
Now, I know that the UK has always gotten Bond a little bit early, but 2 weeks seems like a lot. They're not worried about spoilers or anything like that?
I mean, they're doing it. I mean, they've done it before. They're doing it with Jurassic Park, and they've done it with a number of other movies. Sorry, Jurassic World: Lost Kingdom. So sometimes they do open, and it does have a habit of. I mean, the last couple of Bond movies opened in the UK like 2 weeks before, because I remember when Spectre came out. That was just as I was relocating to the US. I went to the premiere in London 2 weeks before I relocated to the US, and then it came out in the US that weekend that I moved. So they do have a habit of releasing a little bit longer in the UK. They know that is going to be a really strong lead market, that is going to really give them a good idea of sort of domestically the longevity and internationally the power of that. So it doesn't surprise me it's opening in the UK.
Hey, congrats to Universal.
Yeah, it's a really good thing. And I think, this is something I'm going to touch on later, but there has been rumours for many years that, and as we were talking about Universal and how they use their IPs in various different ways, of doing a James Bond stunt show. They have Westworld here at Universal Hollywood, and they had a Wild West stunt show in Orlando. If you are then setting it out, so you've got Bond for 15 or 20 years, it's a really good property to turn into a really good stunt show. So something that's been rumoured for a long time, now we know it's, this chicken is in the hen house.
I'm just imagining
That
like
could
the
happen.
total unknown actors who there's probably going to be 2 or 3 of them who would end up playing Bond in this stage show to be able to say I am Bond, James Bond.
Everybody's got to make bank.
So yeah, okay, that's Bond 25.
So I think it's great. I think it's a really good decision. I'm really happy with it.
Another bombshell.
Yes.
Dropped yesterday.
Boom.
From Boris Kitt over at the Hollywood Reporter.
Yep.
And this one took some time to confirm. The other trades took a while to weigh in.
Yep.
The Boba Fett movie is back on. and it looks like it's going to be James Mangold who will write and direct the movie. I am excited. I mean, fuck, James Mangold did an amazing job with Logan. Logan was a top 5 movie last year, which is very rare for a comic book movie. I think that this guy has real soul to him.
Yep, agree.
And this may be my favorite hire of the entire Star Wars universe.
And I think something that I think will be fun to explore is the darkness of some of the characters. Because obviously, a lot of the films tend to be, family-friendly with an element of family-friendly darkness. But I think if Mangold does want to step this up a little bit and take this a little bit more adult, you're never going to see like a Wolverine level of a Star Wars movie. I think Logan, a level of a Star Wars movie. I think this is someone who can, manage between somewhere betwixt the two, which I think will be quite good. And Boba Fett's a character you can do that with.
So okay, I wanted to get into that.
Okay.
So Mangold, I think, gets a definite thumbs up from us, that part of it. James Mangold joined the universe. And again, who knows if this sticks? Obviously, there's been a lot of director turnover in the Star Wars universe.
Yes.
But Mangold is a veteran, a real pro. So I don't anticipate him having any of those sort of like newcomer second or third movie struggles, the way we've seen with like a Lord and Miller or Trevorrow or whoever. Gareth Edwards. Boba Fett. As far as Boba Fett getting his own movie, I don't know anything about Boba Fett.
That's why he needs his own movie.
I have no allegiance to him. So is this a good move, do you think?
I think so.
Are there others who should be in line before him?
Even though we don't know a lot about Boba Fett, he's always been one of those iconic images of Star Wars that people have ever since Jedi. Everybody's always, you see Boba Fett, you know who the character is, you know he's this bounty hunter. You don't know his backstory, but certainly you see Boba Fett, you know who that character is. I think he's one that, and you see cosplay and all that stuff as well. I think he's, of all the level B or level C characters, he is certainly one that I would be like, actually, I would like to know a bit more about it. And I would have previously probably been a little bit more on the fence about it, but haven't seen Solo. I'm thinking, I really don't need to know Han Solo's backstory. I'm actually a bit more open to finding out a bit more about these characters. And obviously, you can see him before he has the helmet, find out who he is, you can play with that, what do you do? I think it's one that I think has a lot of opportunity in.
Do we know like his race?
Well, that's something else we don't know. I believe. Do we assume Boba Fett's a man? I'm not the world's biggest Star Wars
doesn't really
nerd, but
have to be. I think he is, though.
Yeah, I think he is. I think the assumption
he's
is
a man. He's the son of Jango Fett, right?
But we don't know. Yeah, you're right. But we don't know what nationality, what race he is.
So in the original, I think the actor playing him is of Maori descent. Now that may be tricky these days. I'll put this out there, and again, I don't know. This could be total bullshit. This is like a 3-year-old rumor at this point. But
he's a 3-year-old.
Back when Josh Trank was supposedly directing this, and Simon Kinberg was producing, and he is still producing this. Kinberg worked with Trank on Fantastic Four, but he also worked with Mangold on Logan. So back then, there was talk about Michael B. Jordan as Boba Fett.
Yeah.
They obviously they have John Boyega, but I think that they were looking for another lead of color. A lot of these movies have had female leads, whether it's Daisy or Felicity or, anyways. That was the rumor, that it could be Michael B. Jordan. Now, he just did Black Panther. He has that Disney relationship. I don't know if they're, now that he's in Marvel, are they eager to get him in a Lucasfilm, or is it really, one or the other? I don't know. But he would be interesting. Who I'd love to see, though, is maybe Jango Fett. It would be cool to bring back Michael K. Williams, because he was supposed to be in Solo.
Good point, actually.
Yeah, he was supposed to be that Paul Bettany character who you guys are all seeing this weekend, Dryden Voss, or if not Dryden Voss specifically, then a character in that mold. Like, he may have gone by a different name. But yeah, Michael K. Williams as like maybe the father of... this badass bounty hunter and the father of Michael B. Jordan. That's kind of interesting.
That would work. I mean, a film that Jamie's saying in the chat, actually, that they gave Boba Fett a backstory in episode 2. Way good. They did.
I didn't. But I never saw Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones. Those are the only two I haven't seen.
An entirely fully stretched story. And to be honest with you, I think a lot of the stuff in the prequels that we were given can be redone, revisited, or reshaped.
I guess I love Rob Morgan in Mudbound.
Yeah.
Do you know him?
Yep.
Like that guy would be really interesting as like a Jango Fett, because you can't use Forrest Whitaker.
Yep.
You can't use Sam Jackson because they've already been part of it.
Yep.
And yesterday you lost a big one, Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman's not getting a job in Star Wars anytime soon. So, it's like how many older veteran sort of African-American actors are there? It's
There aren't that many.
right, exactly. So, we'll see. Whether it's Boba Fett, Jango Fett, I'm just curious about the whole endeavor, but I think Mangold is a step in the right direction.
I mean, certainly, absolutely, and I have to say, I know not everybody's loving Solo. It's a film that I really enjoyed. I was not expecting a huge amount from, but I did really enjoy it. And if you want to go and see, more on that, there's the previous week's show. But also, I think there's a lot of characters. I would be very open now, and this has been discussed to having more Lando movies. I'll be open to more Han movies. I think there's the opportunity, and this is something that William Bibiani mentioned on Twitter. I believe Knights of Rey. I think we can build some stories around those characters. I mean, I think even there's the possibility, and now with Disney doing their streaming service, if some of these movies don't necessarily get to the big screen, but they then become movies on their Disney streaming platform. So we could maybe see what happened with Ewoks after Return of the Jedi, but hopefully at a higher quality, where they did movies like Caravan of Courage. We can see things with droids. I mean, that would be. I don't see us having a standalone droids movie on the big screen.
That would be interesting.
But I think that would
what
be
about
quite
an
fun
animated,
for.
a big screen animated adventure called Droids?
Do you remember that
would kinda be
terrible
interesting.
cartoon series Droids
First of
from
all,
the
I
80s?
don't. No, I thought you were talking about a Star Wars thing because I don't know any of the extraneous Star Wars stuff. The special,
C3PO and R2D2, and it was not great. But also the Ewoks cartoon wasn't great. To be honest with you, it wasn't terrible. But what about a Jawa movie?
What about a Porgs movie? Porgs. Porgs could be the new Minions.
Porgs could be the new Minions. I'm just still waiting for the Jar Jar Binks backstory movie.
Right.
Said no one ever.
Would it be called Jar Jar or would you call it Binks?
Oh, Jar.
Just
You have
one
to see Jar, and then you can see Jar Jar, and then find out where he gets the name Binks from.
All right, let's move on from Star Wars. I'm already getting a headache.
Okay, cool. So let's stay with Disney stuff, because obviously we're paid by Disney to say that Disney movies are great. Don't fall over all my money that's next to the desk here, Jeff. Incredibles 2, that's tracking at the moment, and we all know that tracking can be a little bit, unpredictable. It's tracking at the moment to be one of Pixar's biggest weekends. To give you an idea of where that could sit, they're looking at an opening weekend of around 110 million. I think it could do more than that. I really think we're looking at 125, possibly 130.
Bump it.
Do you think even higher than that?
Yeah, I think I could get to 140, 150. Everybody loved The Incredibles.
Yeah.
I mean,
and a lot of people are really excited about this, more than I thought would be excited about it.
Well,
I think it's quite
because
a modest
of the
figure.
wait.
Yeah.
They made us really wait. They didn't just give us something, a tossed-off sequel 2 years later. So I think this one, listen, it's Brad Bird.
Yeah.
He's earned our faith at this point. So I would imagine that I'm going to put Incredibles 2 at 140.
I think that's entirely doable. I would say 130, 145, so we're very much in the same ballpark. And like you say, nobody likes a tossed-off sequel 2 years later.
Plus,
so
what are the other big animated movies this year?
Well, there aren't any that really spring to mind. It's a little bit light on that. I'll be honest with you, generally, a lot of the animated movies that get to movie theaters, I probably actually properly enjoy about 20 to 30% of them. A lot of them are kind of fodder that don't really sort of, either cross my radar or actually enjoyable, but I don't have kids. So here's where that sits with the biggest openings for Pixar. Finding Dory, which was 2 years ago, was 135 million, so that's at the top. Toy Story 3 was the next one down. It's currently number 2 as 110.31 million. So I can see this matching Dory or possibly beating Dory.
Again,
I think 110 is low right now.
Even back then, superheroes were not what they are now.
No.
So,
do you remember the days
back
when
in the
superheroes
day,
weren't what they are
out?
now?
Speaking of superheroes,
Yep.
we got a few superhero-related bits. Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, Jakey.
Joining the Spider-Man universe as the villain in the Homecoming sequel. Mm-hmm. It sounds like he's going to be playing Mysterio. What? I thought I'd heard about this, and I thought it was going to be Kraven the Hunter. But Mysterio is almost kind of more interesting. Not that I really know much about either villain, to be honest.
Do tell me about Kraven Hunter and Mysterio. Tell me all you know about these men.
Well, here's the thing. Mysterio is like a master of disguise, right? Mm-hmm. He can change his appearance, that kind of thing. I think that is very interesting to play with. Yeah, I've just always liked, not necessarily magic, but, illusion, that kind of stuff.
Or do you?
Plus, I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal, so this is what I think about this. He needs a hit.
Yeah, he does.
You guys, there's no bigger Jake Gyllenhaal fan than
Still
I.
kills me that Stronger wasn't a hit.
This was a big week for him because he also had 2 trailers drop. He had Wildlife and the Sisters Brothers trailers drop. Plus, he's joining this. Again, needs a hit. And also, he's never really played a villain, has he?
Not a villain.
Just like an out-and-out villain.
He's played kind of assholes, but he's never played a villain.
I think that this could be interesting. And I believe that Michael Keaton's Vulture is going to return in some capacity, whether it's, a 10-minute thing at the beginning or maybe he escapes from prison at some point in the movie. I have no idea. They did capture him, though, at the end of Homecoming, right?
They did.
He crashed on the beach. Jake Gyllenhaal, man. Surprised he's using his superhero eligibility on something like this where it's not like his show, but I also get that you want a guaranteed hit. And Spider-Man will do that for him.
I mean, for me, I think it'd be good. I mean, I would always see him... I know there was talk of him being Spider-Man or Spider-Man.
Right, when Toby got hurt.
When Toby got hurt. So I'm not surprised that he's
going
with Spider-Man. But I mean, I like Jake's range, and I would have really loved to have seen him join DC. I think he could have really added something.
You think he could have been like Green Lantern or something?
Green Lantern, possibly on the good side, but I think even on the other side, I think if they wanted him to be... I mean, I would not have entirely ruled him out as potentially a Joker, because I think he could have brought something completely different to what other people have brought to the Joker.
Joker's full, though.
Yeah.
He would make a good Joker, like Nightcrawler-esque Gyllenhaal
and I'm not saying necessarily now. I think he would have... been really good in it, but I mean, I think I definitely would put him on the villain side of things rather than the superhero side of things.
Interesting.
But yeah, I mean, from what I know of Mysterio, I would genuinely like to see him do that.
Jake has a darkness about him.
He does.
That I think will make him a good
as
Spider-Man
an actor,
villain.
not personally. He's one of the nicest people on the earth.
But this is a franchise with really good villains, so you have high standards. You've got Doc Ock and you've got the Vulture, but I really like both of those guys.
Doc Ock is still my favorite,
and Green Goblin too. I mean, this is...
Yeah, I don't know if they would do Green Goblin again.
No.
I just think they've done 2 Green Goblins. I think they should leave that guy as a villain. Yeah. But I definitely, I'd be open. I don't know a lot about Kraven Hunter, but definitely Mysterio I could see.
Wonder Woman. You said that Warner Brothers is starting to come up with titles?
A lot of people were saying this week that basically Warner Brothers have registered a load of domains, and this often happens with movies. And whenever it does happen, people go like, "Oh my God, is this the new title for a movie?" Happened a number of years ago with Gremlin sequels and stuff like that. So a load of them were 80s focused. So it's like Wonder Woman 86, Wonder Woman 85, Wonder Woman, and so on. Some of them were Wonder Woman, and then it had another word on the end, .com. So it was Wonder Woman Cheetah, Wonder Woman Lives, Wonder Woman Minerva, Wonder Woman Returns, or Wonder Woman Rises. Now, a lot of these times what studios do, if you're kind of not aware of this as a marketing thing, they will basically buy up any domain that they think people would try to buy under them that will be circling around, that'll be linked to the properties that they're going to be putting out their last year. I remember with Spectre, the last Bond movie, there was a James Bond novel that was written after Ian Fleming died. And suddenly someone, I think it was Sony, registered that as a potential title. So what studios do with these things is they basically buy a shitload of domains for like fucking 99 cents each or whatever, and they just sit on them.
As they should, because I'll be honest, like, and I don't think Kroll and I ever did this, but I swear to God, we discussed it back in the day at Variety. We would find out the titles to some of these movies pretty early. And it wasn't so much buying domains, it was like the Twitter handles. You know, if you can go get Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom or, Jurassic World 2 or whatever the hell the Twitter handle is, it's like you're just waiting for a studio to maybe make you a little offer. Well, we never actually did that ethically. It's a gray area.
So Paul Blart 3 is still sitting there.
Well, honestly, you know what it is? It is on these studios to lock up these titles super duper early, which is why I got the whole, I've told you the Daisy Ridley Twitter story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
But I mean, tell
Disney didn't lock up Daisy Ridley's Twitter handle when they announced her for Star Wars. So when I went to search for it when she got cast, I saw that she didn't have one, and I signed up for @Daisy Ridley. And then I tweeted from her account, and the entire world media picked up on those tweets, thinking it was Daisy.
That's so funny.
That is hilarious.
That is
now
hilarious.
we have blue check marks to,
Although, I'll be honest with you,
things like that.
Whenever I look at you, I always think,
She looks like Daisy Ridley.
Never see you in the same room together because of the restraining order.
So did any of the domains for Wonder Woman 2 come out? Or
Yeah, there's basically a list of them. I mean, Slash Film is one of the sites that I saw
was
this
there,
on.
was there one you had a favorite for?
To be honest with you, no. I mean, I think Wonder Woman Returns or Wonder Woman Lives is probably the better, but Wonder Woman hasn't died. Yeah. So I'm kind of like, that one would probably be out the window. I'm not sure what Minerva
these
is.
Sort of red herrings, though, like, couldn't they just bought a whole bunch of things, made it obvious that they bought them, and then
they often
else.
do to throw people off the scent. That also happens as well. But I mean, of all of those, Wonder Woman Rises, I think for me would probably be the one that I think is the best one. But I don't think any of Wonder Woman Cheetah,
Rises. They did that with Dark Knight.
Yeah, well,
I think they need something. Well, I mean, it's set during the Cold
Wonder
War.
Woman, fuck yeah.
So, like, will it... Yas
Fuck
Queen.
Yas Queen.
Wonder Woman Yas Queen.
Oh, we're never doing that again. Things you never thought you'd see on Jeff's last show.
The movie's Cold War related. I wonder if it'll be like Red Scare or something like that. Or, I don't know. Maybe they'll reference like Time's Up and Me Too or something. Like Wonder Woman, Time's Up. Wonder Woman.
Buys Wonder Woman's Time's Up.
Who knows?
But yeah, I mean, they often do this. But sometimes, it does give you an idea, and also you can change the names and stuff like that. And you can make alterations. So, but these are out there. So, I mean, realistically, do I think any of these are going to be? Do I think it's going to be Wonder Woman 85? No. If I saw something Wonder Woman 85, I'm like, hello, that's a troll. Yeah, so I don't know if it'll be any of these, but Warner Brothers have registered them, and everybody was kind of like, oh, is this what the title's going to be?
Ooh.
I would put probably 30% likelihood of that being actually true, 70% of that being Warner just covering their ass, which they are right to do. Do you remember when someone registered sex.com?
No.
One of the first websites to be registered, sex.com. And for like 10 or 15 years, the porn industry were trying to buy sex.com off this guy who registered it, had a savvy idea, made him a multi-millionaire.
Yeah, that's all it takes these days.
Yeah.
It's like even if you like know like a big celebrity who has not like been, or if you like, let's say Daisy Ridley, and Daisy Ridley's a nobody, and she doesn't have her own website.
Yeah.
You could go get www.daisyridley.com and then wait for her to become this big star and wait for her to offer you, make you a big offer. That's what I'm waiting for. Steven Spielberg to buy Facebook.com/Spielberg off me. I own it. Own it. Very loosely.
Own it. I think if you tried to not sell it, Steven Spielberg might own you.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, just like, take that shit. I don't think he cares.
No, he probably doesn't.
Oh, would Jeff be okay with this? I don't think Spielberg's sitting in an office saying that.
Couple of sequels and spin-offs and whatnot got castings this week.
Let's talk about those.
Liam Neeson joining the Men in Black spin-off. Did you see that news?
I did see that.
Yeah, he's going to be heading like the UK agency.
He's got a very particular set of skills.
Indeed. I like this. I think Liam Neeson is funnier than we give him credit for. It didn't really work out for him in that Seth MacFarlane movie, A Million Ways to Die in the West.
But did you see the stuff that he did with Ricky Gervais?
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, when he's doing the comedy theme, he's like, I have AIDS. That is just one of the most painful but also hilarious things I've seen.
I think that he is the perfect blend of like action and comedy. For this Men in Black spinoff. Again, I don't know who he's going to be overseeing, because at this point it's just Hemsworth and Tessa, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And they wouldn't be in the UK agency.
For me, I think Liam Neeson is very much like a Harrison Ford character. He can do a very dry and wry comedy level stuff. I mean, obviously we saw it in Hollywood Homicide. That didn't exactly work for him.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think Harrison Ford's too funny.
I think Liam Neeson, he does have this comedic timing, but that kind of Harrison Ford delivery of being like, I'm a bit of a curmudgeon, like a Tommy Lee Jones style thing, I think is
Men in Black
good.
has always been good with getting those.
Brolin was
I don't want to say
another one.
character actors, but like guys like Tony Shalhoub and Vincent D'Onofrio, like they've always had an eye for that kind of casting.
But even Brolin in Men in Black 3. I mean, he was not particularly known for his comedic work.
Right. And that was really the start of
was-
him getting all these sort of big blockbuster projects.
So I think that's really good. I'm looking for. I like the Men in Black movies. I really do enjoy them, and I'm really looking forward to this new version more so. I think I said this the other week. More so than what would have been the crossover between this and Jump Street. But
Jay Ryan cast as adult Ben in It Too. I have never heard of this guy.
No.
Nope.
He's just got a job at Collider. He hasn't. I'm kidding.
Are you surprised that it's some like studly guy though? Like that was always the joke. Like wait for the fat kid Ben to like become Chris Pratt or somebody in It Too. I know
Chris Pratt's unbelievably busy right now.
Yeah, a little bit. Kroll had just a funny tweet where just people people who are complaining about these castings because they've never heard of these people. Like, what were we expecting? An entire cast full of like major stars? You don't need that. It just made $700 million worldwide and it didn't have any stars.
It could cast unknowns again.
Right,
and it
exactly.
would have sold
So
tickets.
now that they have a bit of star power with Chastain and McAvoy and Bill Hader, why do they need to fill it out with an A-list ensemble? The sequel's going to sell itself. So,
Yeah, no,
congrats
100%.
to Jay Ryan. I'm sure he's excited, but
People are
I've
literally waiting to click as soon as that
literally
goes
never heard of
live on like Fandango or whatever. What else have we got?
Idris Elba
Yeah.
joining the Hunchback of Notre Dame. He's going to direct and star in this, isn't he?
He is, and it's a musical for Netflix.
Right. So
So let's unbox that.
let's unbox it because
that,
I have a
okay.
lot to say. You go first. Though,
No,
Simon.
you go first because you have a lot to say.
I think it's ridiculous.
I do too.
Here's the thing. I saw one line in this that made me laugh and dismiss this entire project. It's that Idris Elba is going to be doing the music. Because he's a DJ.
Big Driss.
Oh my
Big
God!
Driss.
I watched some shit movie with him. It was like him and Richard Madden. It was like what the hell? I'm forgetting what it was called. It was like Arbor Day or whenever.
Oh yeah,
what the fuck was it?
No, I know Bastille Day.
Yeah, Bastille Day.
Yeah,
okay?
it was called something else in the UK.
So I'm like watching this movie, and it's like a little tossed-off action thing, and then at the very end, over the credits, you hear like Idris Elba performing like a rap song or something. It was terrible. It was awful. Idris Elba needs to give up his night gig as a DJ. I think he sucks, and I think that it could potentially tank Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Big Driss is very popular as a DJ. He gets a lot of money from clubbing.
And I actually think he'd make an interesting Hunchback. I could see that.
Really?
But why does he need to direct it, and why do we need his music in it? That's a bad idea.
I actually like Idris as a director. I don't think he's found his feet entirely, but I think he has a lot of potential.
What has he done besides Yardy?
Oh, he did the thing for Netflix, Queen of the. What was I think? He was nominated for awards a couple of years ago. It's the first thing he directed.
Really?
Yeah. I've
Yardy
completely
was his
forgotten
first
what it was. But yeah,
I didn't see at Toronto, and I heard good things about Yardy, but still, I'm just like, I'm always wary of when actors start directing.
I wouldn't put Idris as Quasimodo, though. I would put him as the villain, as the guy that threatens.
And maybe
Quasi.
that is the plan. I guess we don't have confirmation that he's definitely playing the Hunchback. But
We don't have a hunch. There you go.
I'm not a fan of the Hunchback of Notre Dame's story.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, who gives a shit? I don't.
I say Notre Dame. You are wrong.
Schlemazel.
Schmizzle, schmuzzle.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, it's. I mean, I saw this and I thought it was something from The Onion. I was a little bit surprised. If you had said, write down 10 projects that you think Idris Elba would want to do if Idris Elba was having a to-do list, a musical version of The Hunchback of Notre Dame
Would be real.
would
far
not
down.
have made that top 10.
No.
But now, tickle me intrigued. Because I'm quite interested to see what's going to happen.
This is a guy who is looking for an opportunity to expand his directorial repertoire. He's not going to get this kind of money from a studio to go out and make a Hunchback of Notre Dame movie. Notre Dame. So Netflix gives him the opportunity. I understand why he would jump at that.
Yeah.
What else? What else do we got here? Oh, speaking of Netflix, this was big. Now, I thought it was a game changer. Other people were like, absolutely not. Who cares? Netflix picking up 6 Underground, the Michael Bay,
movie.
Ryan Reynolds movie. This is budgeted at $150 million, which would make it the biggest Netflix production of all time, beating out Bright. I think that this is a big deal. You?
It is a big deal, yeah.
It's a big deal because Michael Bay is a real director who can get real money from real studios. So the fact that he's going over to Netflix to make a $150 million action movie with the star of Deadpool, who, you know, you can say what you will about Ryan Reynolds. Maybe he doesn't sell outside of Deadpool, but now he doesn't have to worry about that, you know, because it's Netflix. And the idea that they have like an event-sized Michael Bay movie coming, that's big. That's different than David Ayer doing Bright. Sorry. Yeah. I know Will Smith and Ryan Reynolds are different too. I agree. But yeah, that's a great get for Netflix, and it'll be interesting to see Michael Bay, what Michael Bay cooks up.
So now Netflix have two, I mean, whether you like Bay or not, you have two major international directors. You've got Scorsese and you've got Bay. Mm-hmm. And I think this is, you know, one is an easy for me to say.
Irishman's still the biggest production that they have.
And then you've got Michael Bay, but this is now looks like it's actually going to be the most expensive production for them. That's what's being reported this week. So if they've got two major directors,
this is more expensive than the Irishman.
Apparently, it's going to be their most expensive production.
I don't know whether Netflix is footing the entire bill for the Irishman. That's the other thing.
That is true. But I think now, you see, if you just have Scorsese, that's an anomaly. That's a one-off. Then if you have Bay, that's two. You need, and then you've got a trend, and then it becomes a normal thing. So I think it's very shrewd for Netflix to do that because, and no disrespect to the likes of, you know, David Ayer or, you know, I mean, it wasn't made for Was it made for Netflix? The one that Duncan Jones did. Yeah, that was made for Netflix.
He's not.
But again, these are well-known directors, but they're not up there with, you know, the Bays and the Scorseses. So I think, it's starting to show, and Netflix have talked a lot about investing a lot of money in these products, and we can see where they're putting it. But I just don't know if it's good.
I want to see a return to classic Bay of like Bad Boys and The Rock and that kind of shit because, you know, the last few movies haven't been good. I liked 13 Hours. I didn't really care for Pain and Gain.
No, I didn't. I know a lot of people did, but it wasn't really my thing.
But yeah, well, you know, we'll see what this brings, and I'm curious, you know, basically how, like, what does a Ryan Reynolds action movie look like these days without all the sarcasm, heaps of sarcasm on top of it.
But there's also nothing to say, and we've seen this with Cloverfield, obviously, where that went from big screen to Netflix, and now we know Cloverfield is the universe is going to continue on the big screen. There's nothing to say that now we can't start to see this thing where if Bay starts to create the next Bad Boys kind of movie, and then move it from Netflix to the big screen, that also gives Netflix the in that they're looking for into that theatrical market. So this could be a long game strategy for Netflix as far as that goes. But also talking about Bay, I know this is something you got very upset about this week. Transformers 7 got pulled from the schedule.
That's right. Oh, good segue. King of the segues right there.
You're going to miss this.
Yeah, no. Well, there's not even a Transformers 6. I guess, is that Bumblebee?
I don't know. I kind of guess. I mean, Transformers 7 was due to come out June 2019, which is like next year. So I mean, Bumblebee is a completely separate entity, but I'm guessing that would be the Transformers or the sixth Transformers movie. But yeah, I don't. Just the Transformers bubble, I think, has burst, and I think if Bumblebee is a success, that is the route they're going to go down because Transformers as is. And I was thinking this just the other day, again, to go back to Universal, how the ride that they've got at Universal, which is fine, I think they could do a lot more with that than having as a Transformers ride. I think Transformers, the movies, kind of need to move on. And either, I mean, Bumblebee's a success, it gives it a bit more longevity, but turning that into something like a Ready Player One or a James Bond or something like that, you could really sort of switch that up. And perhaps if Transformers as a franchise is down a little bit, I think do that. But I didn't even watch the last one. It's on Amazon Prime at the moment, and I might watch it this weekend, but I'm not sad to see. And I love the original Transformers movie. I really enjoyed that. But I'm over it. Yeah, over it now.
Good riddance to that one.
Yes.
And speaking of movies with Mark Wahlberg being pulled off the schedule.
What?
$6 Billion Man.
So Mark Wahlberg's been pulled off twice this week.
Yeah, look at that. That got bumped to 2020, I believe, after losing its director a few weeks ago.
Yep.
So they are still looking for a director. Meanwhile, Mike Flanagan confirmed for Dr. Sleep, which is the sequel to The Shining, and that was also dated for 2020.
I haven't seen the sequel, The Shining, in so long. My wife is away this weekend. I intend over the next 3 days
to watch it,
to watch it again, but to watch so many movies that I've had just sitting by my TV that I want to rewatch or I haven't watched, and I'm just going to binge. I'm going to go out and have a couple of beers. I'm going to put my pants on at least once this weekend, but I'm just going to watch movies. I'm going to buy some snacks.
Have you seen The Dirty Dozen?
God, not for decades.
I watched it for the first time this
No
week.
spoilers.
I'm trying to go back and watch some of those. Like, I want to see Papillon. There was that trailer this week.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never seen the original Papillon.
I'm actually going back and watching a lot of classic movies that I either haven't seen. I'm filling in holes in my film
Fill
knowledge.
those holes, big guy.
Fill those holes. But I watched Logan's Run for the first time.
Okay. I don't even think I've seen that.
It's, oh my God, people say that things like Top Gun are homoerotic. Logan's Run is one of the campest and gayest things I've seen for quite a while. It's a genius movie. It's terrible in many, many ways, but it is really homoerotic. But it's genius, and it's brilliantly camp, and I know why it's so influential as a sci-fi movie. You should watch Logan's Run. It's as terrible as it is genius.
I'll wait for the remake.
So there you go.
But are you excited for a Shining sequel?
Yeah, I am kind of psyched, actually.
I don't think we need one. I don't care about what happens to Danny or any of that shit.
Psyched, but we'll see. I just don't.
I never read Dr. Sleep.
My thing is, I just don't. I'm just because I love The Shining so much. I'm always concerned when there's a movie that is a classic like that and you try to either do a remake or a sequel. You know, it's difficult to follow up something that's a classic, but I don't know. I'm open to it, you know.
Outlander star Sam Heughan, Isaac Gonzalez from Baby Driver, and Michael Sheen joined Bloodshot, the Vin Diesel movie. I got a bad feeling about this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this character doesn't really do anything for me. It's, a Valiant Comics character. It all just screams so B-level, like, Sony trying to compete in the superhero universe, and no, that doesn't do it for me.
Having said that,
with Vin Diesel, that movie opened at like 17 million.
That is, yeah. I mean, I agree with you.
30 tax.
However, there's also what I call the Guardians of the Galaxy factor, where when they assembled the cast for Guardians of the Galaxy, I thought the idea of the film was terrible, and it turns out to be one of my best Marvel. One of my favorite Marvel movies of the whole lot. But I was wrong with that. I thought the cast they assembled for that, well, I was like, who cares? Who's going to go and see that? I think...
Yeah, but that was part of the MCU. It's totally different.
It is different, but I wouldn't entirely discount it purely on the cast.
Did you know, Simon, that... I'm not dismissing it purely on the cast. It's also on the property itself and the studio.
No, I think, like I say, your argument's fair, but I have a counterpoint. Yeah. Did I know?
This show
Yes.
launched the day that Guardians of the Galaxy came out. I, in fact, I was wearing this for my first show. Meet the Movie Press. Yeah. Go back and check it out.
Wow.
What else? LeBron James and Channing Tatum teaming up to produce a Public Enemy pitch.
Yep.
The idea of these guys producing together doesn't do much for me, but I'd like to see them in a star vehicle.
Okay.
Channing Tatum and LeBron James.
Well, like one of the buses that go around Hollywood going, Michael Jackson used to live here.
No. That was a good joke, though. It took me a second to pick up on that.
I could tell that you liked it by the general hilarity that ensued.
Blumhouse picked up a Tommy Wirkola project called Intruders. Do you like Tommy Wirkola?
Yeah.
I never saw Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, but
not
I've
a great
some of his
movie.
other stuff.
Not a great movie, but
Michelle Williams
that wasn't entirely his fault.
Joining This Is Jane. I don't know if she's replacing Elizabeth Moss. I don't know if that movie had talent attached or not. Elizabeth Moss just booked a whole bunch of movies, including Jordan Peele's next movie.
Yep.
I think I'd heard that it was Elizabeth Moss for this, but now it's going to be Michelle Williams. It sounds like that Luca Guadagnino movie, Rio, that she was going to do with Benedict Cumberbatch and Jake Gyllenhaal. I feel like that has fallen apart.
Yeah, I remember that.
So her schedule sort of opened up maybe a little bit. Rebel Wilson joining Taika Waititi's movie, Jojo Rabbit.
Rebel Wilson needs a hit. Rebel Wilson needs something.
She could stand to show that she's something
other
else.
than. And I think something kind of slightly different, but I think unfortunately Rebel Wilson has been cast as, and she's not the only woman to fall into this trap, and men have fallen into it too, as the fat friend, as the comedy chubby person. Which is fine, and she does that really, really well. I genuinely enjoyed her as Fat Amy, apart from in the third Pitch Perfect movie. However, it's really interesting to see, and Melissa McCarthy is another one who, for many years, was like, I'm a bit plus size, so I'll be the funny chubby friend. Right. now there's a movie coming out with Melissa later in the year where
Can you ever forgive me?
Where she does drama. I would actually like to see, as much as I enjoy Rebel Wilson doing this, I think she's more than that. I genuinely believe
you're
that as an
100%
actor,
correct. She needs to
she
show
can
us
offer a lot
another
more.
side of herself, do a drama, do something a little bit different.
Or do it where her size doesn't dictate her character, where her size is and her shape, her form is completely irrelevant. Because she's more...
I thought she was going to do the Private Benjamin remake at one point.
Yes, so did I.
And I think that
I don't know what happened
while
to
that is a comedy, there's enough emotional heft there,
Yeah.
and you know, to that character's journey, or it could be really interesting for her. But yeah, I think you're right. I think she does need something.
I think she's
like that.
underselling herself a little bit, and I just think, you know, so she can be seen as something other than a woman that's not stick thin. She's better than that.
Did you see the Show Dogs controversy? Did you read about that this
did.
week?
I was unaware
What'd you
of
think
it.
of that?
Well, I mean,
Of course we're unaware of it. What do you think? We saw it?
I haven't seen Show Dogs. A PR rang me and went, we've got a thing on the controversy of Show Dogs. And I'm like, yeah, I haven't seen Show Dogs. And they went, there's apparently, I haven't seen the movie, but it's being re-edited for audiences for this weekend, where there is a dog that has to, as part of the plot, as a MacGuffin.
Genitals are inspected, which is part of every dog show.
Yeah, and it's just and then someone has said that obviously it's about inappropriate touching, and they build this thing. It was brought to my attention by someone who works here, but they linked to a website that was run by Kirk Cameron. So it was coming from a slightly
Where's this
pure,
going?
super pure point of view. But I haven't seen the movie. If that is the case, I don't entirely think touching genitals as a mechanic is something that belongs in a family movie. God knows I'm a very liberal person. I just think if it's a family film, you shouldn't have things in it about genital touching, whether it's animals or whatever. I just don't think that's entirely
So
good.
at first, when I saw these headlines, I was kind of like, "Oh, you've got to be kidding me! Like, we're gonna recut this movie because of all the shit that's been going on. Like, really? Like, can't kids just enjoy things? Like, why do adults need to put their negative connotation to things?" But after reading more about it and you know, reading some of the quotes from the experts, I can see the argument how it does kind of groom children for sexual abuse, where
I agree.
I guess the judges in the competition are telling the dog, just go to a zen place, pretend that you're not here while we're touching you, and that is how child abusers groom people. And so kudos to Global Road for doing what it takes and pulling the movie out of theaters and recutting it, cutting that joke or that scene, whatever it may be. Apparently, his genitals get touched a few times in the movie. I don't know why that is so hilarious, but I haven't been to one of these talking animals kids movies in a long time.
But the thing is, when I was a kid, there was so much stuff that I used to laugh at as a kid in movies, and now I look at it and I'm going like, oh, that's not really suitable for a family movie. But no, I 100% agree. I haven't seen Show Dogs, but if that is the thing that's happening, which it seems to be, that's not appropriate for a kids movie at all. And God knows I'm no prude. But I 100% agree with the argument, and I 100% agree with your point.
Also not appropriate for children. Harvey Weinstein, who surrendered to police today, apparently pleading not guilty to felony rape charges. I hope they throw the book at him.
Well, this is something that we discussed when the Harvey Weinstein allegations first came to light. And whatever your feeling is these are allegations, but now I said that what has to happen is, rather than people making allegations, is the fact that unless it does become something that is prosecutable, a legal thing, nothing really changes.
Right. And
so it's really good to see that this is moving into the next phase, and it does become something that becomes a legal procedure.
It shows everybody that there's real consequences, that this is not just, well, you're going to be shunned by your adoring public, and that's enough punishment for you. There's real legal consequences.
Yeah, but from 2 points of view, I think certainly from the victim point of view is the fact that if you do come forward, and yes, sometimes there are false allegations. However, it means that if you're a victim, you can come forward and people will listen to you. But also, if you are someone that is doing this kind of thing, don't think that you're not going to
get away with it.
That you're going to get away with it, because it will catch up with you.
Right. And the DA's offices in LA and New York and a couple other places have declined to prosecute certain things. But I think they got him, and I'm not surprised he pled not guilty. And I'm not surprised he didn't flee. A lot of people thought he was going to flee and become the next Roman Polanski. Like, I'm not saying I know Harvey Weinstein, but I've dealt with him a little. And again, this is a guy who doesn't think he did anything wrong. That's why he didn't flee. There's no reason to flee. I didn't do anything wrong. That's why he's pled not guilty.
I have yet to meet an abuser who thinks they did something wrong.
You know, I hope that that the way Harvey was raised, I thought he would have faced the music and done some kind of a plea bargain.
I expected a plea bargain.
He came from a nice Jewish family, and somewhere, you know, along his rise to power, you know, something went corrupt. So yeah, I hope he gets everything that he deserves. Speaking of things that we deserve, Star Trek land.
Yes.
All those Star Trek fans, they deserve a land of their own, since Star Wars is getting its land, and now here's Universal to the rescue, potentially.
Yes, exactly. I mean, obviously, we know that Star Wars Land's going to open in Los Angeles, at Disney and Anaheim next summer, and then later in the year in Orlando. These are going to be new theme parks entirely. You've probably seen a million stories about it. But basically, a lot of people for many, many years have been saying, why don't we get something more for Star Trek? And there have been attractions and theme park rides and stuff over the years, but they all kind of sort of died or disappeared or certainly become far less in number. So the plan is now, apparently, this is something that's been rumored for quite a while, is that Universal are looking at opening a Star Trek themed, an entire theme park in Orlando. Now, the thing is that they could do this in Orlando because they have much more land over there. The land in LA is very restrictive. So I could see potentially, going back to my comments on the Transformers ride, that could be rethemed potentially as a Star Trek ride. I know they're updating the Jurassic Park to be a Jurassic World ride at the moment. But this would make perfect sense for me. The thing is that I think Star Wars is far more popular than Star Trek, generally speaking, and I think possibly more lucrative. So I don't know if an entire theme park around Star Trek would work. I don't know. However, I would go. I would enjoy that.
I don't
Star
care
Trek.
about rides. Let me know when they can literally beam me from one place to another.
I would go to this. I think it's a good idea.
You would go to anything. You go to fucking mazes, all the mazes at Halloween Horror Nights.
I do many, many times every year.
I just went to
love
Six
theme
Flags.
parks.
I went to Six Flags on Monday. I had a great time.
I went to Knott's Berry Farm on just last weekend. It was great.
Wonderful.
I love theme parks.
Is there anything else on your list? Do you want to do box office?
Yeah, let's look at box office for the week.
We got about 10 minutes left in the show.
Okay, cool. So Solo comes out this weekend. Might have heard of this. Solo, a Star Wars story. It's looking, last night previews had opened at 14.1 million. It opened a couple of days before the US in other markets. 14.1 million in previews here domestically on Thursday night. Looking at a weekend of about 130 to 150. Currently sitting about 69% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it'll be interesting to see the audience engagement on that. I don't entirely put a huge amount of investment in what the percentage score is in Rotten Tomatoes, but I know some people do. So let's try and frame this for the other spin-off Star Wars movie, because this is the second one. First one was Rogue One 2 years ago. That opened with 155 million, went on to do 532 million domestic, globally just over $1 billion. I think that Solo could actually I think it's going to be more towards the 150 than the 130, because I mean, personally, it's a film that I really enjoyed. I think people who are a little bit skeptical or on the fence might take a chance or be convinced to go and see it, so that there's a kind of a grey area that could swing that. And if you compare it to last year, the Memorial Day weekend, because it's a holiday here in the US on Monday, that opened last year with 139.8. So around the 140 mark is kind of about right. So we'll see. I think it's going to be more towards the 150, but we'll see. The top five this weekend is looking. Solo is going to come in on top. And Deadpool 2 is likely to be second with 50 to 60. Obviously, the opening weekend was a little bit lower than people were expecting. It didn't quite meet the original Deadpool. Infinity War is going to take third place with 20 million. Book Club is still holding strong with sort of 10 to 12 million this weekend.
Yeah, Book Club.
And then it's looking like Life of the Party is going to be the film that's going to come in at fifth. There's a couple of movies that could come in.
Slim May.
Yeah, but really,
be a lot better, folks.
Solo is going to be the only one that's really going to do massive bank this weekend by quite some margin.
Was there anything else that you wanted to discuss?
I think I'm done, actually.
I just want to talk about some movies and trailers. I saw 3 movies this week.
Okay.
I watched Fahrenheit 451. Did you watch that?
I did.
What'd you think?
I'm interested. I want to see that. I know the reviews for that haven't been great.
Wait, did you see the movie or
No,
not?
I haven't seen the movie.
Oh,
no.
it's available on HBO.
Oh, cool.
I didn't like the first 20 minutes. I
Okay.
thought it got off to a rocky start, and I wasn't sure that Michael B. was the right guy for this.
Right.
Like, I don't really... I mean, he's a great villain in Black Panther, but it's something about Michael B. at the beginning of Fahrenheit 451 really rubbed me the wrong way. But it recovered, and I liked it in the end. I watched the Jim Carrey movie Dark Crimes.
Okay,
that was the worst thing I've seen all year.
I did see that.
Wow,
you were not a fan of that.
Holy shit! The last like minute of the movie kind of like introduces an intriguing twist, but man, what a slog to get there. That was bad. And I watched 1517 to Paris, which I actually liked more than the reviews. I totally understand there's a lot of just guys on a travelogue and getting gelato and a lot of time wasted and stuff. But something about the fact that these guys had trained for this moment their whole lives and then didn't think that they were going to find the moment, and then the moment found them, and that they were like the perfect people in position to be these heroes. There was something that I liked about it. Again, not great, but better than the reviews indicated, I thought. Did you have any favorite trailers this week?
It's funny you should mention that, Jeff. I don't know if you saw the trailer for Black Water this week, starring...
I actually did not watch that one, but I know this is right up your alley.
Reunited, Dolph Lundgren and Jean-Claude Van Damme together, finally, for the first time in a long time. It's basically an Under Siege ripoff.
See, when I see these kinds of things...
I love them.
I know you do. When I see these things, I wonder, like, who are they making this for?
Me.
And it's you.
It's me. Yeah, it's me. There's not a lot of these movies that sort of go, straight to VOD that are actually that I really go in for. I kind of, I don't have a lot of time, and so I don't really have time to sort of watch them or whatever. But this is one that I'm.
He's gonna make the time.
I'm gonna do it
with his wife out of town.
An Escape Plan 2.
Escape Plan 2.
Seriously. I'm gonna
Speaking of
watch
VOD trailers that I was
eyes.
interesting was Billy Boy, which I'd never heard of before, yesterday, and I watched the trailer. It's with Blake Jenner from American Animals, which is also coming out very soon. You should definitely see. But Billy Boy looked interesting. There was the Sisters Brothers and Wildlife, both with Jake Gyllenhaal. Sisters Brothers looked pretty cool. I mean, that's a great cast. Joaquin and Riz Ahmed and John C. Reilly, who got top billing, which I thought was interesting. Damsel, there was a trailer for that. Robert Pattinson. Mowgli, did you see that trailer?
I did.
What did you think of that?
I was a little bit nervous about this, but it's a little bit closer to Jungle Book than I thought it was going to be. I'm pretty excited.
It looks a bit darker,
this.
though. I'm down to see it.
Darker.
The Jungle Book's a great story.
I was just a bit disappointed that Andy's last directorial movie didn't do... Breathe is not an amazing movie, but I think it deserved more attention than it actually got.
That thing came and went.
That just did not do anything at all. But I do... I'm very interested in this. I'm not entirely sure it's going to be a massive hit.
Right.
However, I am intrigued to see it.
Saw it a couple years ago. City of Lies had a trailer with Johnny Depp.
Yes.
That's like the Biggie and Tupac thing, which I also feel is a little played out, but I'm willing to give it a chance because I didn't love the Unsolved thing. Was Black Klansman this week or was that last week? Black
that was last
Klansman,
week.
Mile 22, Bohemian Rhapsody, all last week.
Yeah.
Happy Time Murders was this week, though, right?
Yeah.
That looked hilarious. I showed that trailer to multiple people.
It's so incredibly wrong.
I love that it's Melissa McCarthy. Yeah. If this had been Jamie Foxx, it would have been all wrong. We got other trailers for Hotel Artemis, Skyscraper, Sicario 2, A Simple Favor. I didn't watch the last Skyscraper trailer, but I'm told not to. I've heard it gives a lot away.
Yeah,
so
I've seen the one. I know what I'm going to get when I go in there and see it, and I'm going to go and see it anyway. I've genuinely stopped watching sort of these last run trailers, the ones before the movie come out.
Exactly. I see one teaser trailer, I'm done.
There's kind of a trend at the moment to put too much in some of the later trailers, and I don't want to go in there knowing too much about all the movies. I need to know what it's about, that kind of thing. But I don't want those dynamic moments, the ones the filmmaker is most proud of, to be spoiled. I want that full impact on the big screen to decide.
I completely agree. I will say I listened to the Rewatchables episode on the Social Network. That was pretty good.
Okay.
I don't know when the last time you rewatched that movie was, but I recommend it. And I showed Stephanie, my darling Stephanie, who's listening to the show right now.
Hello, Stephanie.
Training Day for the first time this week. because the Rewatchables next episode, they had a vote for the audience to pick a Denzel movie. Training Day beat out Man on Fire, Crimson Tide, and Remember the Titans.
Training Day is a great movie.
So, yeah.
That is a great movie.
Is the best.
Man on
fucking love
Fire,
that
I
movie.
really love as well. That's one of the few movies that's actually made my wife cry.
Man on Fire?
Man on Fire. At the end, she cried. I think it's because she liked it.
All right, Simon. I think that is going to do it for me. I mean, I have my big ending plan, but where can the good folks find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ShowbizSimon, and you can see my work on Forbes. You can see it via Reuters. You can see it on E! News. Loads of places.
Anything else you want to plug?
Well, I'm in the. I don't know when it is, but in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to do a Facebook Live for the Telegraph newspaper in the UK. With the cast and crew of Book Club, which I'm very much looking forward to.
They're going to fall in love.
Very honoured to do that.
They're going to fall in love with you. They'll be fighting over you. I'm leaving the show in good hands. I am excited to see who you decide will be your permanent co-host.
You know I'm going to be in that chair, right? You say good hands. I don't know.
You're going to be in this chair. I'm going to see a different side of you.
Certainly some of the safest hands in Hollywood.
Yes. And starting June 4th, I will be the Collider News Director. I'll be over there trying to break some stuff. I'm sure you'll see me on camera, in print, all that stuff. Tonight I head back to Boston for my brother's wedding.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Jordan and Lauren. That, I think, is going to do it. I'm going to leave you with these parting words. Is there anything?
A couple of messages. Sweaty Spidey. Shout out to Jeff for being on the show all these years. Gonna
4
miss
years,
you.
guys. Almost 4 years.
4 years.
Almost.
I'll meet the movie press, Jeff, but looking forward to you on Collider. Cut to Black Film. We're going to miss you so much, Jeff.
Zeno Hour in the chat.
Zeno Hour's in the chat. This is bittersweet. Jeff, the flicking critic. Love you, Jeff. A lot of love for you.
I love all you guys.
You're going to be missed.
Thank you, above all, to everybody for watching. And this is my final message, folks. The man, what has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and did it my way. This has been a very special presentation of Meet the Movie Press on the Popcorn Talk Network. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Don't go!
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.